Give you a look at what's going on as far as Ida goes. It's obviously continuing to gather strength. We've been tracking this storm through the day today, emerging into the Gulf last night as the storm continues to work off to the northwest at about 16 miles per hour. We've seen the intensification really this afternoon. Took a while to get going, but that eye has certainly formed earlier today, showing a little bit of signs of weakening actually now over the past few frames there, which is interesting. We'll have to check that out. But as the pressures have dropped, we've seen the winds respond. The winds have gone up, and this storm has a lot of fuel to work with across the northern part of the Gulf of Mexico. Temperatures in the upper 80s to near 90 degrees. So still a long way to go with this storm, but the good news is the trends are moving this storm further to the east. So here's really what's driving this storm system. High pressure off the east coast, pretty typical pattern this time of year, and this storm is just basically going to ride right along the edge of that high pressure system and eventually bending off to the north and to the east. Here's the latest stats from the National Hurricane Center, the 4 p.m. advisory earlier this afternoon. Winds now sustained at 105 miles per hour, movement to the northwest at 16. Expected to still make landfall as a Category 4 storm, so a major hurricane really expected across the southeast part of the state. Making landfall now expected sometime early to mid-afternoon as a Category 4, eventually moving off to the north and west from there. Obviously, the big question, we want to know, where exactly is that path? 50 or 60, 70 miles to the east, we'll see less impacts across Acadiana, or a shift to the west, we'll see greater impacts. Obviously, that's something we're going to be tracking as we work through the evening hours. The better news is most of the computer models really becoming more consistent across the southeastern part of the state, making landfall. One outlier now across parts of New Orleans. The National Hurricane Center, that black line there, so it looks better for us here across Acadiana. Future Track will step you through the forecast. This model, not great on timing, so don't pay attention to the clock up there, but what I want you to visually see, I think does a really good job at depicting what the storm is going to do. Some outer bands arrive by Sunday morning, early morning, and then through the early part of the afternoon, eventually making landfall, I think, just to the east of here. But notice the western portion of this storm really kind of collapses, so that's certainly something to watch as this storm makes landfall for us here and Acadiana. Here's what we think at this point for impacts across Acadiana: 40 to 60 mile per hour winds, gusts as high as 80 in some locations, especially the further east you live. Flash flooding, not a huge threat, 3 to 6 inches, I think, area wide. Coastal storm surge is still a threat for us. Obviously, the further east and the southeastern part of the state, more of a threat, really life-threatening down there across the southeastern part of the state. Stay with us. We'll be right back.